And so the sign that's associated with this house is a mutable sign, and that mutable sign is Sagittarius. That's the third fire sign in the zodiac. So it's associated with a house that is considered a cadent house. Cadent. So in general, cadent houses are usually considered by astrologers to be less fertile and productive houses by nature than the angular houses like the first house. So the first house is what I described. The first one, the one associated with Aries, that's an angular house. Or succeedent houses, which are like the fifth house, which is the segment I just did for you. That is a succeedent house. So the angular house and the succeedent house are the first house, and the fifth house are considered to be more active than this particular house. I have to say I disagree. Right? Who am I? Right? I'm not one of those accomplished astrologers, but just based on my own study of charts, because I tend to study multiple charts of people, and when I look at a person's chart, there can be different houses that can be associated with their accomplishments. And so what they consider to be less fertile or productive is not necessarily the case for some people. As a matter of fact, this house has been a little more common in the charts that I see for the people who are super accomplished, especially if they're accomplished on an international level. So they don't consider the cadent houses to be powerful or specifically powerful or productive, but they actually have more influence than you might think. So what's the house that Sagittarius is associated with? It's the ninth house, because it's the ninth sign in the zodiac. So what does the ninth house represent? The ninth house represents higher cognition, religious beliefs, level of awareness. So ninth house is actually, until recently, the ninth house was pretty, I understood what it meant. I understand the general keywords of it, but to me, it didn't really stand out. Or it felt like it was only an important house if you were in specific industries, like for instance, religious beliefs. So it represents like philosophy and things like that. So if you were pursuing religion, or some type of philosophy for a career, then I felt like the ninth house would probably be important to you. In terms of higher cognition, I would say specifically things like higher education. The ninth house represents basically college level understanding of something in particular. So that's usually what the ninth house represents. Like, it also represents bigger ideas and bigger goals. If you have a really huge goal that is beyond you yourself, and I would say if it requires the usage of other people, then that's probably more of a ninth house situation. So it has to do with higher education philosophy. It's connected to long journeys far away from home. So basically foreign places. And this is the reason why I disagree with the astrologers that say that this is a less productive house, because in really, really popular people who became super successful, they usually transcend their initial country that they were born in. So I'll give you a good example, because I use this person as an example. There is a whole episode on her, and that is Adele, the singer Adele. So a lot of you know that are familiar with her. I think most of you probably should be familiar with her. This podcast is being recorded in the United States. She's not from the United States, but I know who she is. So I don't know who she is because I am pursuing information from over in the London or Britain area. I know who she is because her talent, her music crossed the water and came over here. And that is why she became an international success. And when you look at her chart, you see activity in her 9th house. So does that mean that her 9th house is less productive? No. It's super productive for her, and it lit the way or explained how she was going to become successful. Like, she's going to get there because she's going to transcend her place of birth. And so the 9th house tends to be super important for people who end up becoming internationally known, are really successful to a level that their name, their work transcends their immediate environment. So I want you guys to take that in consideration. If you are a person who has planets in your 9th house, that means the house is somehow important to you and your journey in life. Now, does that mean that you're Adele? Not necessarily. I would say no. But your journey is based on what you're specifically supposed to do here. And sometimes that house can indicate that a person's work or their life will somehow transcend where they are.